Hello YouTube, Benchmade55 here. I'm going to start on another project today. What I'm going to be making is goat milking stands. Spring is around the corner as far as the goats and their kids go, and then there'll be a lot of call for these goat milking stands, and so I'm going to get started on doing that, and so I thought I would share with you about how that I go about doing that. So to start with, I don't use treated wood for the legs. I have considered that, but because the treated wood twists so bad that where the yoke is that captures the goat's neck, I'm afraid that I'm going to get too much warpage there. So that's why I use just straight kiln-dried 2x4s for the legs. And so these will be the back legs. These are 16 inches long, 2x4s. And the top ones here are 56 inches long. Now, so basically I'm going to be building a table to start with, where the stand part that they will go on. This will be the apron right here that will go around, and then I'll put the boards on there for the platform. These I cut two at 22 inches, and you could use 1x4s. I happen to get stuff from the sawmill, so it's whatever that I get, that's what I use. So that's 22 inches, and then the long ones are 44 inches. So for the base, you start with. Now I'm going to mark up, let me just double check, 16 inches is the length of the leg. So I marked up 16 inches and make a mark, and then put a line on there. So, this will be one side, the apron. I'll go up 16 inches, mark it to the top, and then appropriately on the other side here. Now, eventually I'm going to put ring shank nails in here to keep it tough, because those goats are tough. But I put a screw in to start with, and then I'll get it assembled and put it on the ground to make sure that the legs and everything sit nice and flat on the ground. So that is one side, and then I'll do the other side, and then we'll do the front of the aprons. The next part is critical here. What I've done is taken the two sides and put them together with one apron going across the front here, and I put the screws in there. Then I set that up and clamped it to the other side, and then clamped the back apron on back here to the 2x4s. Now what I've done is I've made sure at the top that I have the same measurement as I have at the bottom, and then also the same at the top back here and the bottom. And then I check the measurement in the length on the top and then on the bottom, and the same on the other side. So that I'll have a nice base here to start with. Okay, so before I attach the decking on top of here, I wanted to go ahead and make the braces that I put in here to give it more stability. And so I've already put the other three I've clamped on there. What I do is make these 40, they're cut with a 45, they're 11 inches from end to end on the long end. And so what happens then is I take them here and put them in the corners, and then I will clamp them in place, and then I will attach them. Now what I'm going to do is attach them with a nail, a couple of nails from here, and then a couple of nails from the underside here. And what I use is ring shank nails, which they're exterior. Okay, so what I've done now is taken and used some, these are about 1x12s I believe, and I have cut them down to 23 inches. And so that gives me just enough overhang on either side. And then I can lay them all out across here. Now in this case here, I think that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boards. Now I haven't nailed anything yet. I've just used some screws so I can make any adjustments that I might have to. And there's the, now we got a deck on there. So now what I'm doing is cutting out the yoke that will hold the goat's necks in there. It's about 45 inches long. I happen to use a piece of, because I get my wood from a sawmill, so it's kind of rough cut. So I use a piece, it looks like about 1x8, but you could use, and then I cut it in half, but you could use also 1x4. So then I mark up to about, from the bottom, about 29 inches and about 42 inches. And then I have this little tool that I made that you can see is adjustable here by a string in a very thin piece of oak that I cut off on the table saw. And I've had this thing for probably 15 years. And so I just pull the string and tighten it with the clothespin, and I can adjust to get any arc that I want. So then I just kind of roughly approximate here and mark the arc. And now I have an arc to cut out over there, so I'll go to the bandsaw and cut that out. So what I've done now is I've taken one side of the yoke here, that's what I call them anyway, and I've attached it with 2 screws here and 2 screws here. I've also put this brace here that goes across, and then I'll have a little tray that's going to come out here to put their feet on. So you can see these have been nice and shaped, and that is going to work well. I believe that this is about 30 inches tall from here. Of course, you can do everything to adjust it to whatever your goat size is. This particular stand will work for anything from mini Nubians, Nigerian dwarfs, and possibly even pygmies. I don't really deal with those. So I put those screws in here, and then I've taken and drilled a hole here. I've used a 1/4-inch bolt, and what we have here is a washer, and then on the other side of this board here, then another washer that is in between here and here so that this thing will slide. And then on the outside of the board is another washer and a nut. And what that does is it gives it the ability to go back and forth. And I like to have it wide here because sometimes people have goats that have horns, and so you have to accommodate for that. So that's where we're at right now. I put the back piece on here, and that's going to capture the yoke in here. Now, since this is a 2x4 and it's 1.5 inches thick, and this is only about 3/4 to 1 inch thick, what I've done is cut a spacer, and I put it in on the inside here, and then put a couple of screws in to hold that in. And then the next thing I did was make a little latch here. I used an eyelet and a little hook that I had, like an S hook, bent that up, some chain laying around, and then a screw right here with a washer. And I leave a little bit of extra chain on there so everything can be adjustable. And then this will just close up here. The goat's head will come in here and latch so they can't get out. Now, what I did was just put screws in here and here, and so this piece here is all adjustable. So it depends on if people have, goats that have horns, or if you don't have horns. And so that's why this part is assembled with a couple of screws that can just be adjusted. Okay, I got the shelf support on here. So what I did was cut a piece about 12 inches long, and I mitered off the sides a little bit, knocked off that edge down there, and then I used braces here. And these are about 2x2. You could rip a 2x4 in half and get these out of there. And then I've nailed them, and then nailed them up from underneath here. Don't forget that goats are they are very, very strong, and they are tough. So that's why I like to kind of build when I'm doing stuff. I also left these extended up here so that if you're going to trim their hooves or do something like that, and you're climbing over goats and everything, it gives you a handle to climb over and stuff. And you could build this without the tray, and then here will be the top. And then so I just have to attach that. Now you can build it without the tray and just hang a feed bucket right off of here for them. But I like to have the tray because it just comes in handy a lot of times. Like I said, if you're trimming hooves, if you're doing different things, you could set something on here. Okay. Well, YouTube, it looks like it's a success. I got a test driver in here, and I sanded it all up. It's sturdy. She's a big girl, and she's going to town here. So please share, like, and subscribe if you like my videos. Benchmade 55 out.